Go ahead, Chris. Question for Steve Forbes. Go ahead, use the raise hand tool. If you need access to record, send me a note in the chat window. First question will come from Leo Haggerty. Go ahead, Leo.
Coach, good morning, and thanks for doing this. The top 6 teams go down on Saturday. I know there's nothing like a good loss, but is there a productive loss that you can learn from that and get your team's attention back?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I've been on both sides of that. I've been at Wichita State where we won 35 in a row. And then you get to the end of the year and you're trying to keep the streak going and everybody's saying, well, you might play better if you lose. I never bought into that narrative. The other side of it is, yeah, sometimes you can get their attention. Maybe you feel like you don't have their attention, but winning's kind of covering up your problems. And sometimes that's what winning does. Just because you won doesn't mean you played well. And more often than not, when I go and look at the film, we never play as good as I thought we did, and we never play as bad as I thought we did. And so it just depends on your team, and what their mentality is. I'll use our team as an example. We had a tough loss Wednesday at Clemson. We had Louisville coming in here on Saturday. We needed to bounce back, and we did. And they showed resiliency, and they came back and played really well. And so, I think it really depends on your team and where they're at in the season. You're either getting better or you're getting worse, and where they're at mentally, what kind of leadership you have with your team, and it can go either way.
Thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Barber, go ahead.
Morning, Coach. Everybody has their own, criteria as we talk about ACC Player of the Year. For you, in terms of opponents, has there been one guy who stood out as, okay, that guy really, I'm going to remember that matchup?
Yeah, I'm pretty old school when it comes to probably voting for these type of things. I usually vote for the players on the best team because to me, the hardest thing to do in college basketball is to win your league. It's a 20-game grind. And so winning the tournament, it's great, but anybody can get hot. But consistency to me is the key. And so, there's obviously, Duke's got great players and great coach, Hall of Fame coach. Ben Caro is somebody that's, played really consistent for him all year long, as far as numbers, Baycoat, you got McGusty, Wong, you got, I think Wesley's tremendous at Notre Dame. Those are the guys that, to me, would probably just randomly off the top of my head, I would think a lot about, when it comes to making that decision. I am not one to lobby for my players. I believe that they stand on their merit. And so I'm not real big on me getting on, this type of environment and pushing for my players. I think you guys are smart. You see it, you look at the numbers and like I do, and you use your eyes and not your ears.
I'm going to ask you anyway, because honestly, we're not that smart.
Yeah.
How important has Alondas been? And I mean, the scoring, the assists, it seems like the total package.
Yeah, man, he's a stat stuffer. He's not a one-dimensional player. He doesn't demand to have a ton of shots. He doesn't care if he leads us in scoring. He just wants to win. And, his biggest attribute is he unbelievably shares the ball. And I think he gets more enjoyment out of passing the ball than he does scoring the ball. I'll tell you this, probably the most impressive thing for me with him is he went from being like the 6th or 7th option on the scouting report at Oklahoma to the top of the scouting report at Wake Forest. That is a hard thing because not only is he a good player, he's getting everybody's attention. And I think he's handled that really, really well. And there's been some growth with that, but over time, I think he's handled that very, very well.
Thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Connor O'Neill, go ahead.
Steve, I wanted to ask about Cam Hildreth. He'd been a guy that had not had much of a role for about a month and a half, 2 months, especially once Damari got healthy. So what kind of kept him engaged, or he could give you some big minutes last week?
Well, Connor, he's always been a really good practice player. And that's huge to me. You play like you practice like you play. And if you don't practice hard, you ain't playing for me. And he's always been a guy that's brought the energy. Now, he's been, sure, like any kid, he wants to play, and I respect that. I don't want to coach guys that accept not playing. Okay. He wants to play. So he's always been pushing it, in practice, trying to get better. Unfortunately for him, I remember this. He got in a game against Virginia. At Virginia, didn't play well. He turned it over, got a charge, and that was it. I don't like that. And so I had talked to him about playing really hard, defending, and not turning it over. And I thought that's what he did. The offense was great. He did some great things in the game, things that he's always very capable of. And so he's gonna keep playing. We need him down the stretch, and I'm excited for him and Matthew Marsh. Guys that just stayed ready. You got to stay ready, and you never know what's going to happen.
Casey Hintz, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Casey Hintz from WREL in Raleigh, Durham. I know you've been asked the few times you guys met up this season, but as we get ready for Coach K's final home game this week, I've been asking coaches their favorite memories. I'm wondering if you can give me what you won't miss about Coach K being in the league.
Well, I won't miss losing in Cameron every stinking time I go over there, or losing at home, or not that John's not going to be good, but, Coach K, obviously when you get ready to play them, you got a problem on your hands, and he's always set the standard in this league, and it's a high standard for all of us to follow. But I'm just going to miss not seeing him. I think when I think of Duke basketball, that's who I think of. And I'm going to miss not being able to see him down there on the other end. And, but life goes on. I get it, and I'm sure he's excited about what the future holds for him. I know he's going to be involved in our sport, and I know he's going to support Coach Shire, and that thing's going to keep rolling. And so more than anything, I just know that, I won't see him down there when I walk into Cameron.
Thank you.
We'll get one more quick one in from Josh Graham. Go ahead, Josh.
Steve, I'd love to hear how the Lion King was at Tanger Center last night, but more importantly, how do you approach talking about March with your guys? They see the stuff on social media and Lenardi and all that. How do you keep them centered?
I think just being honest, and keeping it real, and telling them that exactly how I feel about it. We're not in there. We got to keep winning, keep stacking wins, and not, looking at somebody's metrics versus somebody else's metrics. I can't figure that out. I don't know how they can. It's just take care of your business and play the game that's right in front of you. And they're all big. They're all big. And so, I think that's just how you got to do it. And I think you do it, we've been doing it for about a week now. You don't want to do it too early. But the great thing about it is you control your own destiny. You're not trying to, somebody else doesn't control our destiny. We control our own, and that's where you want to be this point of the year. And that's where we're at. And so you take care of that business. The only bad thing about the Lion King is I don't sleep really well after a game. So I get about 3 hours. And so when they turned the lights off last night, I almost went out, but I didn't, because it was about as good. I love Broadway. It was really good, and unfortunately, not unfortunately, but, as I was sitting there, somebody snapped a picture of me from the balcony and tweeted at me if that was me with a mask on. So I guess my bald head, I'm going to have to start wearing a hat when I go over to the Tanger Center. I'm going to Hamilton in April. I went to Wicked in October. And so I'm trying to get some culture in my life, Josh.
We're all about the culture. Thank you, Steve. We appreciate the time today. We'll see you in Brooklyn.
See ya.
All right, we'll bring Mike Bray